Hi, Casey.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
I have you on my earbuds, but for whatever reason, it's not working.
Not working.
Sorry, hang on. Let me try this again. Can you talk?
Yes.
Oh, that's better. I can hear you.
Good.
Sorry. I'm driving to get all of the little children, so I'm having to listen to this while I'm driving. So
all good. I'm about to want to cast this up to in our training room. So just so you know, you're going to be up there.
Oh, okay. I'm going to mute it so no one can hear me. Okay, I'm doing that now.
So lost.
Your listing thing done and all that other stuff you're working on?
Let me.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey,
I wonder
Jay.
where I wonder where Winnie is. Hey, Kristen.
What's up? I know. I think Winnie's running a little late. Her dad.
All good.
had
All good.
surgery.
I was having some technical glitches with my Zoom there for a second.
I feel like that's the story of 2020.
No joke.
Shit.
Winnie just said, do I have the wrong code? So I think she's on something else. So bear with us.
And I even made it easier for her and let her use this code instead of what the tech.
I know, we didn't change it.
I know. It's all right. It's Zoom, and everybody is, is able to make a mistake. We'll forgive her.
Listen, I'm still in my pajamas, so anybody that can do something better than that's doing great.
Right? There's nothing wrong with pajamas. It's the wardrobe of 2020.
Guys, I'm
Guys,
sitting
I
in
was on the wrong
carpool
Zoom
line.
link. Just waiting. I was like, TikTok people, where is everybody? Cool. Thanks, Jay, for putting this up. Look at that. That's pretty.
I do my thing.
Cool. All right. So let me see who's on here.
I'm gonna turn it over to you, let you get started. I will say, if before we do get started, as today is also what the tech, if you guys have any tech related questions, we'll field those at the end. Winnie's gonna make a really cool presentation on how to leverage command to grow your profit share and your downline. But we will still have a tech session if anybody has any questions or needs after she's finished.
Perfect. Hey, Jay, can you make me, give me hosting ability?
I can.
Great.
If I can find you. There you are.
Okay, cool. So first of all, I would, sorry for being late. But second of all, this is kind of crazy because I've been hosting Profit Share Day once a month. This is the 10th session. And it's kind of funny how sometimes it takes, a catalyst for people to see how effective something is in order for them to actually have their ears peaked. So I'm glad that you all are here. And, we do cool stuff for Profit Share and for the Growth Committee every single month. We go over ways to build your downline, and today is really just a system to do that better. So, and one of the things that I want to start by saying is, we all know that you either need systems, tools, or people, right? And so in this scenario, I don't want anybody to do things like how I do it, right? Like, this isn't a me thing. What I'm trying to give you is a system and a tool to be able to be you and to build your profit share the way that feels really natural to you. So I fully expect that you're going to adjust this, that this isn't, 100% the way that you might do it. And I want to also start with a little bit of background about me, because some people might think, oh geez, like this just pops into your head, Winnie. But I've started a network marketing business in 2013, and I've recruited 25 direct to me, including probably at least another 25 or so in my downline through that. So recruiting, i.e. scripts and language, is something that I know how to do. So all of that to say that if you have a scenario where you're like, hey, Winnie, what do I say to this person? What's the next step? Reach out to me, text me. Like, I probably know what to say next. So really one of the main things that I want to go over today is, what I went over with Jason Abrams on I cannot say it right, Take Command Tuesday. And what I want to show you, but more in depth, and for everybody that's attending today, I'm going to send this to you as an actual PDF. So as a thank you for attending, but also as a thank you for, wanting to build our market center and also wanting to build your passive income stream. One of the reasons that I love network marketing so much and also KW so much is because a passive income stream is really, really important, because the day that your last sign goes in the yard is the day your last commission check, is going to be coming to you. So there's other ways to just earn other streams of money. And that has always been just like a huge passion of mine, is just to educate people on other ways of, of adding income streams into their life. So what I want to go over today is how I have repurposed the leasing pipeline. And my hope is that eventually we'll have an actual recruiting pipeline. So this is in your opportunities tab. And then I'll go over some of the checklist examples. And then also I'll go over the smart plans, because I've actually published my smart plans to the smart plan library. So you can literally just R&D, rip off and duplicate. And I fully expect that all of this stuff you're going to turn into your own. It's going to make sense for you. For instance, I did a lot with real estate schools before COVID, so that you'll see that that's a huge part of what I do. But right now it's a little bit different. So you might need to adjust. So,
Hey, Winnie, if I can interrupt you for a second.
Yep.
She briefly mentioned, y'all, that she did Take Command Tuesday yesterday with Jason Abrams. I just want to go on the record and highlight that a little bit more. We have been fortunate enough in the past, 3 weeks, to have 2 agents from our market center featured with Jason Abrams on this. This is a very, 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 very big deal. These 2 agents in our market center were selected out of over 180,000 agents. And they were selected because they're doing things a little differently. They're pivoting their business and getting creative, and they've been noticed by someone like Jason Abrams. So Winnie kind of glazed over that a little bit, but I really want to shout out to Winnie and to Jessica, who also was featured a week or so earlier. This is a very, very big deal, and y'all need to be paying attention to what she's saying, because it's gotten her noticed at the very highest levels of KW.
Yeah, I was actually even asked to go on Wealth Building Wednesday with Jay Papazan because of this. So that's kind of cool.
It's not kind of cool, it's very freaking cool.
It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
And
right, continue.
Okay, thanks. And so this year my goal was 15 agents to the market center. That was my great goal. My good goal was 10. I'm at 7. So, it's not like a million people, and it's still pretty decent, right? So, and this is a slow game, this is that long game. This is a long play, and so a lot of people don't focus on this because they're like, oh, I'm not going to get paid now. Or like, oh, I'm only going to get paid $7. Well, let me just ask you, like, what that is going to be in 20 years if you continue doing this as part of your business, and that and you teach your downline how to recruit into their first level, and then they teach their downline, blah, blah, blah. It goes down 7 levels deep. So it's really important to just like start this just very casually. It's not like this takes up a lot of my time to do this, but if you start this casually, it will grow incrementally over time. It's kind of a momentum thing. So I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm definitely like kind of a computery kind of a tech person, but I'm going to show you what each of these look like. So within the leasing opportunity pipeline, as you can see, you can't change these words right here where it says leases. You can't change the word cultivate, appointment, active, pending, and closed. That's fine. I'm going to tell you how I have mentally repurposed them though. Cultivate now means not licensed. So whether it's somebody that is in school, or it's somebody that, say for instance, you meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, you would be such a great agent, or oh my gosh, you know, I need you somehow involved in my life and in my business. This is the section that they would go into. So in the talent pool tag, that's basically means that's just a person that is awesome and successful that you know that potentially could get into a real estate career. So, and there's within each of these, I do have checklists. So I'm gonna move this little thing around so I can do this. So when you go into edit stages, and if you guys don't know how to do this, this will be something that Jay can teach you in What the Tech, you know, like, and I'm sure that there's videos on how to edit stages. But you can see these are my 4 stages of Cultivate. I have the talent pool, which just means that they're a human person that exists. And then once they've actually scheduled school, once they're in school, and then once they've scheduled their final exam, so their state and their federal. During each of these places I have, so here's just an example of the checklist. You're going to update command with all their contact information. You're going to definitely befriend them on social media. You're going to schedule to chat. You're going to teach them about the school choices and add them to, you know, your quarterly call plan. So each of these has their own checklist that goes along with it. One of the really important things, if you are working with somebody that is going to school, is that you follow up with them, like see how they're doing on their tests. Like part of this is I send out flashcards. So, and I know Maui is on the call right now. I'm pretty sure, on the video, I'm pretty sure I sent you flashcards. So I hope they were helpful. And then what happens, then we're going to go back to the next step, because this is kind of when it gets a little bit more realistic going forward. So these are people that they've already passed the test, but they haven't chosen KW yet. So really what you want to do here is, this is when we leverage Adrian and Krista, you know, our Enable coaching crew, because they are versed in the language of recruiting. This is not meant for you to be a recruiter. This is meant for you to love on people and pass them over to the right people for them to do their magic. We all know that, like, Vince is a master recruiter, you know what I mean? So it's like, you don't have to learn all the language. You have to keep them in the funnel until they agree to actually have a conversation with Krista, Vince, or Adrian, or whomever, you know, somebody in the office. So in this section right here, this is basically the main goal here, is to get them in to have an appointment. And whenever they're in school, that's going to be with Krista or Adrian when she's not on maternity. So we'll just say for Krista for now. And then this is the next stage. So the active stage is co-op agents. So what that means, so right where it says active, you're now saying a co-op agent. So this is during a transaction. You know, I mean, it takes 2 to tango in real estate, right? We need the buyer side and the seller side. So depending on whatever side you're representing, you get the luxury of choosing whether or not you think that this agent is a good fit for our market center or a different market center. Now, I will say that's a really important part of it, because I'm going to tell you right now, not all of these co-op agents do I want in our office. We have a beautiful thing going, and I'm just going to be super, super frank about that. And you still need to put them in your pipeline, because you never know what could be down the road. They could go through some personal growth, and KW could be a really good fit for them, you know, once they get there. So during the transaction, you're going to add them here. You're going to, of course, connect with them on social media. You're going to tag them with agent, recruit, and talent. And don't worry, I'm going to email all this stuff to you guys. So they're talent, because potentially if you joined a team or created a team, they could be talent for you, right? They could be your new buyer agent or whatever. You're going to tag them as an agent if they're licensed, and then you're going to tag them as recruit, because you are intentionally, you know, potentially recruiting these people. And then of course, connect on social media. After the transaction, this is a really important part. This is actually one of the most effective parts of what we do and how a lot of people do build their downline. After, the main things that you're going to do is you're going to thank them for the transaction. You're going to invite them to coffee or happy hour to celebrate. You know, we all have, you know, those tough deals where we want to kind of like, you know, commiserate about, you know, or congratulate people. I mean, I actually took this person right here, Christy Gore, out last night and bought her a wine and cheese because she busted her ass for our deal. So, and I wanted to thank her for that. You can also send them a copy of the MREA. And then the other thing that you do here is you request that they take either the PC or TL's call to thank. So you may or may not know this, but part of the role of our productivity coaching or our team leader, depending on what level of production they're at, is to thank the other side, our co-brokers. So whenever you're doing this, you know, I just set them up. I'd be like, hey, you know, is it okay if, or would you take, you know, my coach's call? I know that she would just love to thank you. I was telling you all about her. I was telling her all about your transaction. And I know that she would just love to just, you know, thank you or take you out to coffee or whatever it is. So this is just part of the process. So this is just making sure that you keep up with that. Once you've done just this section, then they go into pending. And pending basically means now they're your friend, you know, or not, but now they're an agent that you know, an agent that you have a relationship with. Now, a couple of people in your world are going to start off here. So Celeste, for instance, that's on the Zoom call, already an in-network agent out the gate. I already knew her, already licensed, right? We're already friends. So this is where I'm going to plop, you know, one of your agent friends straight into this section. They're not going to go into cultivate or appointment or active. They go straight to pending. These are people that, yeah, you've done business with as a co-broker, or they're just other agents that you just happen to know. So that's where you bring in here. Whenever you do that, some of the things here you are going to, I mean, mostly you just make sure that you are connecting with them everywhere. The next thing you do is one of the things I really learned in network marketing. There's two really big ways to recruit someone. And we all know that culture is a huge part of KW. And so is technology, right? It's systems, tools, and people. That's all it is. So sometimes it's hard to be like, hey, I want to invite them to talk to my TL, or I want to invite them to Mega Camp. But you can do a softer strategy, which is called sending a tool. So a tool would be, an example of a tool would be sending them a video of command, sending them, hey, will you download my app? We just got this new app and I really want your feedback. I know you're an incredible agent and I would love for you to see what you think about my app. So these are where you're not sending them to connect to other human people. You're sending them a tool. You can even send them a graphic. You can tag them on, you know, in a KW article on Facebook. In addition, it doesn't even necessarily need to be KW related. It needs to be service based. You know, if you know, for instance, like I knew that Celeste was going in full time for real estate. And I was like, well, let's get her immersed in whatever way possible. If she doesn't join KW, I don't care because I like her and I want her to be more successfif because that's her goal. So just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be all KW. If you just lead with service in general, if you see a really cool Enman article, or if you see, you know, these really cute, like cards or whatever, like, oh my gosh, I saw these cute real estate cards. This says my business would suck without clients like you. So if you just see, you know, cute little stuff, send it over to that agent to add value to them. And then the next thing is events. I have heard this countless times in my years. Events sell. The reason events sell is because of culture, energy. You get to meet other people. You know, I don't know about you guys, but when I walk into our office, I feel like family and I feel excited to be there. And I feel like everybody is there to support me and love on me, and I can be myself there. And so that is, you know, everybody's hesitant to change up their current situation unless they feel like a culture is a good fit. because they don't want to just like show up and everybody's a jerk, you know? So make sure to get them to events. And events have pomp and circumstance. It's just, you know, the fact, right? So some of the ideas for events. So obviously you can still invite them to, you know, having coffee with you, because that is still a culture thing, and that's that human connection thing. You can invite them to any market center events. I usually ask, there's a couple of events I want to make sure that we're allowed to ask guests to, but this is what we do mostly during Profit Share Day is I teach you how to invite people to events. And you can see, because I put asterisks before and after, this is the most important thing. Like if it's an existing agent, not if it's a recruit in school, but if they're an existing agent, you have to get them to events. It's just, or in the culture somehow. So you can invite them to, you know, even career nights. That's something, if you want to be on growth committee and help me plan career nights, I would love for your help doing that. Of course, you can also still invite them to speak to the PC or TL, and then invite them to Mega Camp and family reunion. Hey, Celeste, can you unmute and tell us how you joined? You're still muted. There we go.
How about now?
Yeah.
Good? Okay.
Yep.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, so I've known Winnie for a number of years, and actually reached out to her when I went into real estate full time, and was kind of lost, really. I was like, hey, just calling a friend that I knew in real estate, and was like, hey, what do you do every day? Like, I don't know. I'm coming from the corporate world where my life was very structured, and I kind of had a really good idea of what to do in real estate, but not full time. So when he came over, I think we had coffee or happy hour, I don't remember, and Mega Camp was around the corner, and she was like, hey, I think you'd benefit from this. Like, do you want to do it with me? I mean, there was, you know, no pressure, anything like that. And I'm also, when he mentioned she's very, you know, into technology, I am too. I'm kind of like I self-label myself a tech nerd. And seeing Command hi Jay, and seeing just all the cool technology was really amazing. And it was kind of a game changer for me, because I was with a mom and pop, and I mean, they're fantastic. I loved them so much. I still do, cut my teeth with them, but Keller Williams just offered more, and it was a better fit. And when he kind of just showed me that in a very she had good like demonstratives with Mega Camp and with Command, and like, oh, I can personalize my database, and you know, it kind of, you know, with smart plans, and we kind of talked about all of this, which piqued my interest enough to want to do a bit more. And then since joining KW, it's
And let me ask you, Celeste, if you had to put it in a nutshell, how much of Mega Camp did we actually literally sit down and not talk through? 10 minutes? 5?
Maybe.
So,
we spent a cool week together, though. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And in that week, I think I picked up more about how to run my business than I previously had in the last 3 years.
and one other thing I want to thank you so much, Celeste. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
And if I can add, Celeste,
Yeah.
if that's what you took away from Mega Camp, from virtual Mega Camp, imagine the possibilities of like in-person Mega Camp with 15,000 other agents.
Oh my God, absolutely.
So one other little thing that I did there, that this is just because of my knowledge of you know, recruiting, is don't go to events alone. You know, so anytime that I'm like, hey, I want to invite someone to something, I'm going to go with them. Maybe we're going to get coffee afterwards. Maybe we're going to go to lunch together. I'm not just going to invite them and say, hey, you should show up. Well, I'm going to go together. This is like, you are my guest. You are the most important person in my world right now. And that is one of the really, really important things about events. So, all right, we are going to move on to hot in network agent, which is basically, at this point, you know, you just want, at some point, you're going to have to be bold and just ask. So that's one of the things I like in this checklist is ask them, hey, you know, I think KW would be a good fit for you, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, or like, what would your main hesitation be? That's always a great question. What would your main hesitation be switching over to KW? Because usually it's not no, it's I don't know enough, right? So, and then we also move them into a check-in smart plan. We didn't go over the smart plans yet, but I'll go over that in a second. And then this is my favorite part. Once they are actually in KW. So first of all, you want to welcome them. And I didn't do this very well with everybody. You guys will notice that. But I'm working to develop this stronger, because if somebody just joins and that's the end of the game, you feel like a piece of meat, right? And like, how not cool is that? So when you want to welcome them to KW, give them a gift, give them a shout out. I usually like to even like, you know, go out to coffee or happy hour, you know, make them know that I am there as a resource and as a friend if they need anything, right? In addition, so there's coaching opportunities. I have a few things that I send to my new recruits, and I also ask them to shadow me at certain places. So, you know, one of the things about the people that are in your downline is it benefits you as well. You know, you want them to be successful, but it benefits you as well. So why not make sure that they aren't just like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and you actually set them up for success with some tools along the way. And this is another one, add them to the profit share groups, encourage them to build their first line, right? You know, you want them to know about passive income just as much. So I like to just share resources, determine what their top lead sources are, and then share resources based around that. For me, it's like, you know, Sphere and open houses are some of my big things. So I like to teach my people Sphere and open houses. And then if they're a seasoned agent, it's very similar, you know, they just might already know how to do open houses, right? You know, and some of that kind of stuff. And then the last thing is to add them to your follow-up, and there's Wendy on here, yay. Add them to the quarterly call plan. I mean, I talk to everybody in my downline way more than quarterly. So, you know, this isn't even like challenging for me, because that's the stage that I've set. I think I've talked to 6 of my downline today specifically. So, you know, yeah, it might sound like extra work, but in the long run, this is the culture of KW is, you know, we rise by lifting others. And so hopefully this is helpful for you guys to see. Do y'all have any questions about just the leasing pipeline part of this? Cool. Okay. All right. The next thing. So in the leasing pipeline, there are some smart plans. So I use 2 smart plans that KW created, the birthday one and the quarterly call plan. Easy breezy. Oh, and by the way, put your people's birthdays in there. Come on now. And then I created 4 others. So I have my recruit check-in. So let's look at what that one. Really, if it's a recruit checking in, I'm essentially just asking them to go to an event. That's it. Like that's literally, and I'm going to do it until the end of time. Every like couple of months, I'm going to be like, hey, we have this cool event coming up. You want to come? Hey, we have this cool event coming up. Want to come? That's essentially what that entire plan is about. Now I do have my downline check-in, which has a few other things, but it's basically making sure that they don't have any questions, that they're not feeling abandoned, you know, not that they would, because our market center is awesome. And you can also have recruits in other states. So you want to make sure that, you know, that they're plugging in. And that's really what this is. It is so I like to check in with the PC to determine like what training and tools I can provide. So I actually do check in with like Krista and say, hey, how's such and such doing? Like, what do they need from me? And then I check in with them. So that's just part of what I do. And then here's an in-school one. If that's part of what you want to do, is touch base with recruits that are in school. Actually, I'm going to just go here. And then also the co-op agents. So, you know, you thank them at first, and then they move into your recruit check-in. So at first they're in school, then they're a co-op, then they're a check-in, and then they become your downline. So does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so one of the things I like to do I'm gonna stop the screen share at least for now. And there are some tags that I use. So that's part of the packet that I'll send you guys. And so what I want to do, what I do at every profit share class is we do an activity together. So I want everybody to get pen and paper. Get it out, get it ready. And everybody just like raise your hand or whatever whenever you're good to go, or lift something up. All right, everybody ready? Okay. I want you to write down the last, like every agent that you did a transaction with in the last year, or just every agent that you've done a transaction with, period, if you're newer. If you're a new agent, I want you to write down the name of every agent that you know that is not in KW. Just write down 10. Let's just start with 10. And then we're going to touch base on this after. So I'm going to give everybody 2 minutes. So we're going to start a little ding, 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 ding. So for 2 minutes, I want you to write down at least 10 agents. They do not have to be in Charleston.
Okay, Winnie, I have like what if there are agents that you never, ever want them to ever come anywhere near this market center? There's no amount of personal growth that's going to change anything.
I think that that's fine. And I would never, ever, ever allow them into our market center.
So how do we account for that? Put them in there as a, don't ever let this person come into our.
I think that there could be a tag for that says
Okay.
blacklist.
I mean, I have like a blacklist list.
I have a blacklist.
Okay.
It's
so
in my
judgment-free zone.
Yeah, the DNC, do not call. I honestly think tagging somebody blacklist.
Let me ask this question. Like,
yeah.
And again, this is not a judgment space. This is just me asking a question. Like, what would it take for someone to be on that list?
The guy that I met the other day that said, young lady, when you give up your morals and your ethics, you can actually be successful in real estate in front of my client. Him.
Okay. Qualified.
For me, it's the guy that, that transaction I just had that totally, he screwed it left, right, and sideways and had no idea what he was doing, and then was demeaning and awful to my clients and refused to wear a face mask, even though the wife had said, I have cancer, can you please not wear it? Please put that on. I mean, just like dismissive of people, just not the right culture.
So let's write down 10 though. We're going to do 1 more minute. Let's write down 10 agents that are decent human people. Most people are, right? So. You might have to go on your phone.
I was going to say, I'm trying to remember their names.
Yeah. You can go back in your, in your emails. I've done that before. Just like search the street name. And then that's how I found a lot of these.
Yeah. By habit, I always put the property address or my client's name, one or the other, in an email subject line so that I can easily go back and find everything that I've sent or received.
Exactly. That's what I do too. And if they're in my phone, I put realtor.
So do I.
Yeah. So it's like a tag.
So I put, if they're KW, I put KW and where they're based. If they are local, I just say agent and the name of the company that they were with, at least at the time, because who knows, some people jump around all the time.
Yeah.
I'll never understand that, but that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a
I've
big.
never been anywhere but here, so I don't know any better. I don't know any better.
Okay. All right. Does everybody have some? All right. Now, let me pull up one other thing. Now, let me ask you, is there one on there that is pretty decent, like pretty sweet, like you guys have a pretty good connection? Hopefully it should be.
Mhm.
Should be one person.
At least one.
Okay. I'm going to show you. So next week, we have a class. Actually, Kristen, are you on this? Or is she just indirectly recording it? Okay. What I want you guys to do is I want you to text them, and I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. You're going to say, hey, we have a really cool training next week, and I can bring a guest. If I sent you the invite, will you come along? Hey, we have a really cool training next week, and I can bring a guest. If I sent you an invite, would you come along? That's it. Now, let's break that down. Hey, we have a cool training next week, FOMO, right? And then the other part of that is, if I would you. There's a very special, I guess, thing about if I would you. Essentially what you're saying, this is just like a recruiting scripting language. If I do something for you, will you do something for me? Because what people don't want to do is just do something for you or just do something for them. They want it to be symbiotic. If you say to somebody, hey, can you do me a favor? I would, be really grateful. People, they want to know that you're helping them and that they're helping you. So that's why you say, if I would you. If I sent you this invite, would you come along? So, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so that we can engage our prefrontal cortex, and I want you to send it out. And I want you to tell me when you're done sending it out. And you're probably asking yourself, what event am I going to invite them to? We have like 1,000. Freaking pick one.
That was my question. What are you talking about?
So, for instance, next week, I do want to make sure that we're allowed to invite people to this, because we have some that we're not allowed to invite people to. But next week, we have one that's called 20% pay raise in 2021. Don't you think you would want to go to that one if you were an agent? That sounds pretty darn cool. We also have, business planning clinics. Like, for instance, this morning, it's too late now, but we had one that was on FSBOs and expireds. So there's plenty of events that we can invite people to. And so what you just need to do is pick one. And then, so let me know after you guys just put it in the chat or raise your hand or whatever after you've sent it out. And I'll wait here all day because this is a workshop-based activity. I want to see it.
I've got to say, I love seeing this many people in the growth committee. This is epic. Way to go, Winnie, Jay, and everybody. So appreciate everybody's involvement. This is fun.
Yeah. I want to see it every week. Oh yes, Maui sent it out. Stella sent it out.
I'm working on it.
All
Wait,
right.
what are we sending? I want to send something.
We are sending, hey, we have this really cool training next week and I can bring a guest. If I send you the invite, will you come?
Awesome. Is this
That's
the
it.
Dave Jenks training?
Do what?
What training?
It doesn't matter because we have about 13 to choose from. So
Awesome.
I'm hoping, actually, Vince, are we allowed to invite people to that CES class?
100%.
Okay, there you go. Then
Dave
that's
Jenks, the author of the MREA, the co-author of the MREA, is going to be presenting on how to go get listings in our market centers. So that's a huge opportunity to invite some
So
guests.
let's everybody invite. It's called 20% pay raise in 2021. That's what the event. It is virtual. But I'm going to tell you how to solidify virtual. And it's exactly what I did with Celeste.
What day
So-
is that? Do you know?
Yep, it is the 28th from 9 to 12. So I don't tell
week
them what
from
the event
today.
is at first. You do the icebreaker first and then just wait until they reply. That is a really important part about it. You wait until they reply. They have to say yes. You have to create that mystery. They're like, oh, what are they gonna send me? So
Is the one on the 28th, is that the Dave Jenks one?
yes. Then my other piece of advice is make sure that your butt can attend it as well. Because when they reply back and say, sure, when is it? You're going to say, okay, it's from 9 to 12. It's the author of Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and it's called 20% Pay Raise in 2021. And he's going to go on how to get listings in the market. It's going to be awesome. I really want you to come with me. You know, something like that. You don't have to be as verbose, but. And then the deal is you guys need to watch it together on Zoom. So
Verbose was a very big word.
I was going to say the same thing, but I decided not
Verbose.
to.
Wow.
I can be rather verbose. My mom called it diarrhea of the mouth, but verbose sounds way better. So
I'll say verbose. I'm going to use that in my meeting that I'm heading to.
okay, good. It's better than high level. Hey yo.
Oh man.
Oh,
Up around here. I tell you
that's
what.
good. That was some good stuff right there. Okay,
Yes.
so all right. So Casey has sent. All right, awesome. So yeah. So I do use Stella. I use our office calendar so that, and it's Tiffany or Kristen puts it as our header in the in our Facebook group. So that's literally like I'm gonna share my screen right now. This is literally what I'm looking at. That's in our thing right now. So that's literally what you're gonna do. Now, okay, good. Casey has sent. Awesome. Okay, great. So you're just gonna invite them to that event. Jay has sent. Awesome. Great job, you guys. So all you're gonna do is get them to that event. And I will tell you right now, and part of what is in these documents here is we talk about assumptive language. Assumptive language, I'm going to tell you just one thing on how to. Great job, Celeste, sent hers out. One really important thing about assumptive language, you're not going to say, hey, are we still on for tomorrow? Whenever you follow up with them. What does that give them the option to say? Shout it out.
No.
Cancel.
Exactly. So my advice to you for assumptive language is, hey, I'm going to grab coffee on the way to meet up with you. What kind of coffee do you want? Hey, I'm going to bring snacks tomorrow. Do you want salty or sweet?
So an open-ended question, not a closed-ended.
All you're saying is, or you can even say, this is a little bit more passive, but I'm so excited about meeting up with you tomorrow. This training is going to be awesome. What you're not saying is, are we still on for tomorrow? You still good for tomorrow? Because the answers, there's two options, yes or no. And let's be honest that, you know, people are going to fear, you know, with anything is going to be the default. So you're going to get, if you ask that question, you're going to get at least 50% no. So don't ask that question. You're saying, I'm coming to your house. We're going to watch this Zoom together, or I'm going to Starbucks, or we're going to go sit on your porch and I'm bringing a bottle of wine and we're going to watch this thing together. Whatever it is.
Giving yourself a 20% pay raise in 2021. Period.
Yep. Yes,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I meant to be muted. I'm speaking my text right now.
Okay, perfect. Yes, great, thanks. So yes, that was great. But you got a yes already. See, Wendy already got her yes. So that is badass. The description of these events is most likely going to be in our email. Celeste, yeah?
Yeah, can I ask a question? So one of the people that I listed is an agent. She's with Berkshire Hathaway and she's in Atlanta. We went to high school together. We've had very little contact, but you know, like we like each other's posts.
Yeah.
And we've had some like, hey, I've ordered this marketing thing. Like we've talked about market dwellings and stuff like that. So I would need more of like an icebreaker. I feel like I mean, would that be like hey, are you happy? Or like, do you want to chat?
This isn't about you recruiting her. And that's where the mindset is different. This is about, there's this cool thing and I think you would like it.
That's it. Value. That's all.
Well, let me ask you, Celeste, did I recruit you?
Not very passively.
I didn't say, are you happy?
Yeah. I think I came to you the last day of MegaCamp and I was like, so.
I didn't even ask you. You said, so I'm going to join KW. And I was like, I know. And that's a great question though, Celeste, because I think that's what stops a lot of people from recruiting is that they think that that somebody has to be unhappy. You weren't unhappy.
Not at all.
So they think that they have to sell, you know, all you have to do is share, add value. So, yeah, so all I would say is, hey, we have this really cool train. Literally, that's just what I already said. It's exactly what I would say. I wouldn't say anything otherwise.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And then just let the culture do the talking. And then if you have somebody out of town, remember, you can absolutely invite people out of town to this stuff. And all of us have connections in other places, just like Celeste has a recruit in Costa Mesa, California, that we've found a TL to connect her to him or her, the agent over there. So don't feel like you have to be, you know, just reserved to the Charleston area, because you can feel culture, you know, decently okay. I mean, you guys can even FaceTime together to watch something, you know, or FaceTime afterwards, be like, watch this event and then let's get on Facebook afterwards. I can't wait to like hear what your biggest takeaways were.
Question.
Yes.
When you found that TL in another area, did you like vet that TL, like ask them any? So here's my issue.
Yep.
I have a huge sphere in Atlanta, and I've sent my friends to market centers, like KW market centers in Atlanta before, and they were not happy with it, like with the conversation and stuff. So, I mean, everybody's not everybody's cup of tea, but like, sure, are there questions I should be asking that TL?
That's a great question, Vince. I'm going to have you chime in, but I do want to say one thing about this is I asked someone else for their recommendation for the TL. So of course, you know, you're in the KWYP group, so that could be a good place to be like, hey, who's your favorite either PC? And remember that PC is a very, very legitimate person that potentially is more helpful than a TL, depending on, you know, how busy their market center is. You know, PCs know this language just as well as TLs. And so, you know, keep that in mind too, that there could be another couple of people within that market center that could be a good option. But Vince, what are some of the questions that you think would be important to ask?
Yeah, but absolutely. Like one of the ways, so I'll piggyback on what you just said. Probably one of the best ways is go into all these Facebook groups, right, that people are associated with, and say, hey, who's the best TL in Atlanta? And you'll get a bunch. and then call them up and see who you jive with based on location. Then you can go and send the referral over. The other thing that you can do is you can just go into the white pages and find them as well. Or you can call me, and I know a lot of the TLs in different areas, or at the very least, I know names. So I can look at a team leader or a market center in Atlanta and say, I probably want them associated with the Peters, Andy and Lisa Peters. And because I know Andy Peters, he's an awesome guy. I like the way that he thinks from an OP standpoint. And I know that that is probably going to resonate with his team leader. Or for example, Terrell Patton, I know that particular team leader in Atlanta as well. So also use me as a resource in that regard. And I'll say, can I say one more thing about the recruiting piece?
Yeah.
The recruiting's kind of become a dirty word in real estate, in my opinion. And KW is not a fit for everybody. And there's some amazing companies in Charleston specifically. But I think what recruiting really is about is helping somebody identify where they currently are, where they want to go, and what's stopping them from getting there. And then if KW can be a resource, and the infrastructure of KW and maybe some of the conversations that our particular market center is consistently having can help them get to where they want to go faster than where they currently are, they'll self-realize that. And because there's only three ways that really, there's three mechanisms that you're kind of using in recruiting, and it's questions, stories, and experiences. And Winnie, you're taking them down the path of using the experience of getting into an amazing class like Dave Jenks teaching how to go get a bunch of listings, given the fact that the man wrote the book on real estate business with Gary Keller. What an amazing experience that is, right? Through questions, and then you go the stories piece. They're going to probably be able to talk to somebody about or reference somebody that has built something very similar to what they want to build, right? That's a story that they can relate to. So questions, stories, and experiences, and help people self-realize the gap, and then just be there if they want your help and they want KW's help. The close almost becomes the next step in that. So I hope that was helpful.
Yeah. And remember that once again, Vince and Adrian and Krista, like they know how to do this part. Like you don't have to necessarily do the close if you don't feel comfortable yet. Hell, I will help you do the close, because there is a little finesse to it depending, but sometimes just being you and just like fully being authentic and being like, so when are you going to join KW? Like, duh, like sometimes you can say that to people and, and own that, obviously you need to feel them out, but you can sometimes. So, all right, who's got a yes so far? It looks like Wendy has a yes. Celeste has a yes. Who's got another yes for me? All right, well, I know we're going to have a couple more by the end of the day.
Hey, Winnie, Casey also asked a question a little while ago in the chat, and I wanted to just circle back to that.
Yep.
She said,
Thanks,
in
Jay.
an effort to make sure I don't forget, can you inform us about bringing agents into a market center in another state? Would they still be in our downline if they still list us as the person that recruited? And
Love
yes,
that.
I think Vince answered the last part of that question, Casey, and the answer is yes. As long as they mention you, it doesn't matter where they join. I mean, they could join in Puerto Rico, and
My upline is in Atlanta.
Yeah,
so.
and they could still list you. The other thing is in another state, and it kind of goes back to what Lexi was asking about Atlanta specifically. So that question's sort of already been answered, but I will say particularly if they're in North or South Carolina, like Vince in particular already has a really good knowledge of all of those TLs and knows them on a pretty personal level. So by all means, definitely let him know who they are and where they are. And if it's outside of that, just same sort of thing.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, making sure that the potential recruits do name you as the sponsor, whenever you communicate to Vince and the TL in advance, it is their role is to ensure that your name is put down. So letting the TL know in advance, instead of just being like, hey, show up to this market center and sign the paper, you know, like just make sure that, you know, you're going through the process, because it is the TL's role to ensure that your name is listed if you were in fact the one that was most influential in them choosing to join KW.
So
Yeah,
I
and this
reached
is a-
out.
But also keep in mind too, Casey, and anybody, like, it's possible that you're not the only person that's reached out to them in reference to KW. So don't necessarily be disappointed if you aren't named the sponsor.
That is true.
Because that can happen.
Network marketing had that happen so many times.
That can happen. And in all fairness too, I wouldn't try to make it a thing where you encourage them to name you as their sponsor, because then it is recruity and pitchy and weird.
That's why
you know, just let it be.
Them doing
So,
the job of it.
So what I did, can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I did was it's a recruit, actually someone who was moving to the Charleston area that I was working with, ended up deciding to move to Florida and get her real estate license in the meantime. So all of this to say, I did find a local team leader in an office down there, but my thinking was, after hearing Vince say that he has a lot of connections and knows some of the team leaders throughout, you know, the area, I thought, well, I'll start there. And then of course, like you guys suggested, get on some of those Facebook groups and see if anyone can offer up any suggestions. But I've already been in contact with the agent, the team leader rather. She and I have been emailing back and forth already. So we're kind of getting the ball rolling, so to speak.
And that's awesome. I mean, that's the way to do it, right? And I'll make one more point about the sponsorship piece, and it's really important. It's a gift, right? And it is not. It is the person coming in. It is fully their decision, 100%. And that's when profit check can get really tricky, right? Again, it's their decision based on the individual that was most influential in them sitting down with me, sitting down with Adrian, sitting down with Krista, right? And having a conversation about what it would look like to join KW. And that can be a tricky piece. I know that I've had a lot of conversations around that with people. And as a team leader, I'm always going to acquiesce to the agent. And I want to see everybody in our market center participate in profit share. So I'm really purposeful about helping you along the way and saying, hey, you got to stay in touch with this person. So Casey, when you go down to the person in Florida, or Lexi with the person in Atlanta, after they have a conversation with that TL, follow up on every meeting, on every conversation they're having, and say, hey, what was your aha? How can I help? What questions do you have?
And
it's
here's
a really, really big piece to the puzzle. And I got to run to this meeting. I'm already late, but this is epic. If anybody needs me, call me, text me, and shoot me an email. But way to go, Winnie and Jay. Thanks for putting this together.
Thanks, Vince. So, and once again, just to go, you know, on what Vince just said, like that is the reason that I created, like, you know, this pipeline and these smart plans and these tools, so that, because I don't want people to fall through the cracks. I mean, we've all had clients even that fell through the cracks because we didn't reach out to them, you know, on a regular enough basis. So just keep that in mind. That is the purpose of this checklist. That's the purpose of the smart plans. And you can see right now, this is one of the other things I thought was crazy. If everybody that is currently in my leasing pipeline were to sign up and cap, okay, like not everybody's going to cap. So I'm talking best case scenario, $52,000 in potential income. That's if everybody, all 11 people that are still in school, all 3 that are newly licensed, all 4 that are co-op agents, all 15 that are in-network agents, and then of course my 4 are all going to cap because they're rock stars or that are in here. That's the potential for $52,000 in a year, per year. So
what amount are you putting in there?
So
to
for
get
our
that number?
market center, it's 1,400 right now is what I'm putting in per capper per year. So, and I do include literally how to type it in. So when you do the leasing When you add them to the leasing pipeline, I do it as a tenant, whatever.
Y'all, sorry, Winnie, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you've been blowing my mind with how technical you are about this.
I'm a geek.
And
So
I love it.
So I'll show you real quick. And then I gotta pop off here. We have the YP president's call, but I just want to show you real quick, like how easy this is, right? So you click create an opportunity. I go down here, listing, I go to tenant. I search for, you know, the person, right? So I'll just put myself in here. I double click where it says tenant. I type recruit because I don't want it to say tenant, right? For tags, I put in, you know, agent, recruit, all that kind of stuff. Do not put anything for close date. That's important. For lease, you have to type in the number 0 or else it won't take it properly. Then you go over to commission, you do 1,400 because that's your potential commission. And then you put them in whatever opportunity phase and stage you want. So whenever you create these, like I said, that is in here. And I'll email that to you guys, but that is, so for our market center, it's 1,400. I don't know what other market centers are. So that part is the only thing where I'm like, meh, I don't know. But let's be real, you know, 1,400 seems like a decent amount. Some market centers, it's like 2,500. So, you know, keeping it kind of modest, I think is smart. But all right, so everybody that was on this, I will email you my pipeline, my checklist. What I want you guys to do now as your homework, go into the smart plans. I want you to search and click on the library. I want you to search my name, and I want you to download all 4 of my smart plans. 3 of them are for recruits. 1 of them is for your downline. What I want you to do then is I want you to open all of them up and make sure that they sound like you. You know, you need to alter all of these, make sure that, you know, that they vibe with the way that you talk. I talk more folksy. Other people might talk more formal, more proper. That's totally cool. Do your thing. And then that is your homework so that whenever you have the checklist ready to go, you can start rocking and rolling and building your profit share downline. But thank you guys for being on, and tell everybody that their asses need to show up every single month on the 21st for profit share day, because, oh, by the way, our money drops the 21st of every month. So it's no coincidence that we choose this day of the month each year. So, all right, hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I'm going to pop off and talk to you guys soon. See you guys next profit share day, and I'm sure before.
Thanks, Winnie. You're the best.
Bye. See you guys.
Thanks, Winnie.
Thanks, Winnie. Bye.
Of course. Okay.
Are we still doing what, the tech?